a podcast by CIPRA.
Il podcast della CIPRA.
Le podcast de la CIPRA.
Der CIPRA Podcast.
CIPRIM Podcast.
Interviews, background talks, and voices from all Alpine countries. Listen to this and more in the podcast of the International Commission for the Protection of the Alps, www.cipra.org/podcast.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the CIPRA podcast. My name is Veronika Ribernik, and today you will hear from young Alpine changemakers. They will share their creative ideas and innovative projects for a better future in the Alps. These like-minded people met in July at the first Alpine Changemaker Basecamp in the Swiss valley of Valposchiavo. Surrounded by mountains and nature, the participants had the opportunity to develop their ideas into projects. In numerous workshops, international coaches offered them new tools to further concretize their plans. Whether it's an art pavilion on the topic of mass tourism, bivouacs in abandoned barns, or integrating marginalised groups better, the young changemakers also learned from each other's ideas and experiences. Let's hear from them now. They send us short messages to tell us more about their plans, their ideas, and their projects.
Hi, my name is Sonja. I am living in the Alpine region of Bern in Switzerland. And I am working on a project with the title Holy Cow. With a background as a dietitian, I have a particular interest in the topic of meat, and I wonder what place it should have in future dietary patterns. Because if I am looking at the international scientific literature, the answer would have to be we should eat as little meat as possible, and if so, then poultry meat most likely. And at the same time, it is clear that we cannot simply transfer such global dietary recommendations to Switzerland with its many grasslands and agricultural land in mountain areas. So with my questions I am pursuing in my project, they revolve around how farmers experience their beef business in the Alpine region. So, for example, I would like to learn how they want to be perceived as producers, what is important to them in sustainable cattle use in the Alpine region, how they see their role in strengthening sustainable development in cattle farming, why they like to produce meat, what is important to them, and what the reasons are for this, and how the use of cattle for meat production in the Alpine region shapes also local identity and appreciation of the products, and what they would like to see from city dwellers in terms of consumption of their meat. So as a first step, I will run some interviews with farmers in the Alpine region, and where I also will ask them if they think that, for example, a festival in honor of the sacred cow could increase the visibility of Alpine farming. So I will offer them to organize such a festival to improve the appreciation of beef and strengthen the relationship between customers and producers. And I will try to find out what they think about this idea. At such a festival, in addition to the sale of beef products, of course, various activities could be offered that would enable mutual exchange between customers and producers.
Hi, this is Anna. I study agricultural sciences at the Bern University of Applied Sciences. For the Alpine Changemaker Basecamp, I was very interested in the way people produce food and live in the Alpine space. So I therefore choose to look at agricultural barns that are usually not used anymore for agricultural purposes. So I see a lot of them just collapsing. That's why I want to investigate on ideas and how we could use them again, for example, for soft tourism. And one idea could be to build bivouacs, so the barn's appearance will not change from the outside, but inside the barn will be an opportunity for people to sleep there and stay overnight. And this could also be a big chance for farmers or rural communities to rent them out to people from the city, for example. So there are a lot of activities that could actually follow with this to connect urban people with rural society again.
Hello, my name is Nicolas. I come from Viterbo, which is a city in the center of Italy. I studied industrial design in Rome, and now I'm living in Bolzano, where I'm currently attending a master in eco-social design and enjoying the mountains. I am also a passionate sneakerhead, so the project I am developing with the Alpine Changemaker Basecamp Network is related to make an ecological and sociological change into the footwear world. The name I gave to the project is Digital Shoemaking, Need for New Traditions, since the plan is to design and to make real a blueprint of local shoes production by entangling shoemakers with fab labs and designers. Why such a thing, you would ask? I am sure multidisciplinarity and collaborations would help innovate footwear know-how, setting new standards for consumers and producers. The main target of this project is to try redefine the profession of shoemakers by merging together the ancient know-how of handcrafts with the current technologies of digital fabrication. So shoes would be tailored to one's feet thanks to 3D scanning tools, with a 3D printed sole, and uppers handmade by shoemakers with materials available locally. The sole could then be entirely recycled and reused, and the upper either recycled or disposed in nature. Workers and nature are overexploited by big companies, so I wish I could design a more ethical and sustainable way of producing shoes within a circular life cycle, while trying to save and update shoemakers' profession for future scenarios.
Imagine a skiing area with no more traffic jam, cleaner air, and no more loss of biodiversity because of the expansion of parking lots. Hi, I'm Daniela and I'm currently working and living in Munich, but I'm born and raised in a touristic town in Tyrol in Austria. And that was my vision when I applied for the Alpine Changemaker Basecamp. Having an engineering background in energy system planning, I already had the perfect solution in thought. Visitors arriving by train can utilize a free electric shuttle bus from the last mile, powered by solar energy from photovoltaic modules installed in the skiing area. But the discussion and the input session, but also the exchange with other participants at the Alpine Changemaker Basecamp opened my eyes that probably the right solution might not be found within a certain technology or a certain alternative to private cars. Probably one needs to deeper analyze the needs of not only the locals, but also the visitors coming to our area. Probably there should be more offers to drive by public transport, but probably you will need to have incentives to stay overnight or to stay even longer to reduce traffic. So the required steps will be to talk and to understand the concrete needs that people have that drive to our place. And then probably the beginning is to talk with those just living in my current neighborhood in Munich.
Hi, my name is Stefanie Schulz. I'm living in Rosenheim, Germany, where I just finished my studies in the field of interior architecture. My changemaker idea for a better and more sustainable dealing with the Alps is an architectural pavilion that is called the Alpine Space Pavilion. It is mainly constructed with stacked timber and invites people to discover the meaning of its architectural design, to walk through the informative exhibition inside, and to use it as a place for public discussion. The main goal of the Alpine Space Pavilion is therefore to raise the publicity's awareness on the versatility and complexity of the beautiful Alpine region in the context of our man-made problems.
Hi, I'm Chiara Jacopo and I come from Coazze, a small town at the foot of the mountain. I really like the context in which I live and I believe that I must be further protected. Otherwise, all the beauty of these splendid mountains will be lost, and consequently the importance of the magnificent customs and cultures of the place. My project talks about integration, not only that referring to the migrants, but also to drug addicts, social outcasts suffering from syndromes of disorder. And the goals of my project is to integrate them into the mountain, in the mountain community, through the work supported by the locals and the restoration of the reality that has been lost. And the other possible activities can be carried out through local authorities for the restoration of the paths and enhancement of the woods and typical features of the mountains municipalities, and the support, the first support through homes to live in, will be provided by family homes made available by NGOs and local people.
Hello, I'm Anna, I'm Italian and I'm a geographer. I participated to Alpine Changemaker Basecamp with a project about the future of the middle mountain territories, the mountain at low or medium altitude. These areas have precious geographic forms such as paths, terraces, villages and traditional cultures, which are now threatened by demographic abandonment and hydrological risk, especially in some contexts in Italy. And these areas, sometimes they are not even considered true mountain areas, on the contrary of the mountain at high altitude. Well, the idea is to recreate a new imaginary, a new story, a new presence on this area, starting from local resource. For example, path. Slow tourism maybe could be a solution. And so these beautiful territories are waiting to be discovered and especially to be lived by us. And I hope that our generation can do that and can take advantage of it.
Hello everyone, my name is Jim McNeil and I'm currently a researcher in tourism at the University of Trento here in Italy. For our project, we'd like to open up a type of tourist accommodation in the mountains, but one that also acts as a social enterprise and a resource for the local community. And the name of our project is Life Below Zero, and it refers to our vision of creating a regenerative and circular future. This is based on the concept of zero waste, reducing the amount of waste in our supply streams and daily operations, 0 kilometer, the idea of sourcing all your products and materials and locally, or as locally as possible, and lastly, zero negative impact, because we're looking to take the idea of sustainable tourism a step further and not only reduce the impact that tourism has had, but also have a positive influence on local communities and the surrounding landscapes. We look to confront these themes based on the pillars of community, education, culture, and nature, by proposing also a type of community space for events, interactions in local workshops. The idea is also to implement several circular business models in our approach, ranging from eco-design to waste as a resource, from the build of our place, but also in the daily operations, and as well as repairing, reusing, reselling items and materials, and as one of the main things, providing a learning environment for guests and locals alike.
Hi, we are Elizabeth and Sofia from Padova, and our idea is to organize a school exchange between classes coming from mountain valleys and metropolitan cities. Considering the strong relationship that alpine regions have with nearby lowlands, we wanted to encourage new dynamics of interaction between such interconnected contexts. Thus, workshop or other educational activities will be a dedicated space for the students to create new relationships and get to know the different living environments. The discovery of the two territories will encourage a comprehensive knowledge of mountain and city environments, both in terms of seasonal periodicity and thematic complexity. On one hand, the partition of the year in high and low season can be tackled by proposing activities all along the year. On the other hand, the proposed activities can deal with various topics of local sustainable development. Moreover, for a deeper contact with the local communities, the proposal can involve local actors and students' families.
Hello, my name is Shamil Achimczyk and I come from Poland. Currently, I'm an architecture student at the University of Liechtenstein. The main project idea is based on the upcycling architecture. Together with my group, we want to focus on the region in Valposchiavo Valley because that region is extremely receptive to new solutions aimed at thinking about the future. During the workshop, we made a site visit in several different villages in that region, like San Carlo, Valposchiavo, Brusio, La Prese, and Campacologno. After a preliminary study and many discussions with the residents there, we chose the village of Campacologno as a starting point for our future project. It is the last village on the road leading to the Swiss-Italian border. Due to geopolitical reasons, it is nowadays practically an abandoned place with around 20 inhabitants, with many empty, ghost houses visible from the street side. With our project, we want to help to repopulate this place. We want to choose one specific building in a village and renovate to create a new function for it to bring new people. Moreover, we believe that this is a very good opportunity to start the process of village renewal and create a new chapter together with the local people.
You just heard about some of the projects and ideas of our young Alpine Changemakers. Do you feel inspired by the Changemaker spirit? And do you want to be part of this community as well? Then keep your eyes and ears open, because we will publish the next call for projects in spring 2022. In the meantime, you can visit our website www.alpinechangemaker.org to find out more about the Alpine Changemaker Basecamp, or as we call it, the ACB. You can also follow us on social media with the hashtag Alpine Changemaker. And if you are also working towards a more sustainable future in the Alps, keep us posted on your Changemaker ideas on social media. The ACB was the first pilot project of the transdisciplinary Alpine Changemaker Network. That's an association of organizations from the fields of education, regional development, and the environment. The network is accompanied by a reflection group that evaluates the conception and implementation of the base camps. After the base camp, a mentoring program supports the participants for a year in the implementation of their projects. The Alpine Changemaker Network was initiated by CIPRA International and Jens Badura from the Bergkulturbüro. My name is Veronika Riebernick. Thank you for listening. Till next time.
a podcast by CIPRA.
Il podcast della CIPRA.
Le podcast de la CIPRA.
Der CIPRA Podcast.
CIPRIN Podcast.
Interviews, background talks, and voices from all Alpine countries. Listen to this and more in the podcast of the International Commission for the Protection of the Alps, www.cipra.org/podcast.